Ave Maria, this is Friar Roderick here for AirMaria.com, and we're in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. We're going to interview Ray Noury, who is a World War II veteran who flew on a B-24 bomber as a radio man and gunner. And he had the amazing distinction of falling from 15,000 feet when his plane got shot down and falling without a parachute and surviving. So here we have Ray Noury. How you doing, Ray?
Fine. How are you?
It's great to have you here.
Well, I'm happy to be here to be able to respond to some of the things that you're interested in. And I'll say this was a special day, the 22nd of February in 1944, my mother's birthday. And somehow this mission, I felt kind of funny for some reason or other. Things didn't go accordingly from the beginning.
Now, were you in southern Italy, right?
Southern Italy, and then we were headed for Regensburg in Germany to bomb the Messerschmitt's factory. Wow. So we headed out there, and without escorts, we flew towards Switzerland on the right-hand side of the Alps, and we figured eventually we'd encounter some real heavy flak coming through in over the target. So before we started, let me tell you, the flak was there. Okay. The aircrafts, the German measurement gave our altitudes pretty accurate. So the flak was coming up so heavily, we went through the target, and finally, you could almost walk on it. But anyways, right, so we went through and hit our target. And after we gone through and hit target with all the formations there, we ended up being hit by flak bad enough that the right first engine was on fire. And we had to evade from the elements because we were losing speed and the whole bit.
So you were basically falling away from the whole formation, which was your protection.
So we became stragglers. Okay, there was three of us,
and you just bombed a Messerschmitt factory, and now some Messerschmitts are going to come back and take revenge on you.
Oh, definitely, they were ready. And let me tell you, because they had never expected us all the way from Italy. But anyways, before the pilot could contain the fire on the engine, he couldn't. And in the meantime, three of us are straggling not too far apart from each other. I saw one of our planes go down, and nobody came out. And definitely I looked out, and I saw the engine on fire so bad.
Now, this is your plane right here. You were the starboard gunner, right? So you had
I had a good view of everything that was going on.
I was going to say, you're right in view of that engine on fire.
Right. So eventually I says to myself, it looks like this is going to be it. I says, something's going to happen here. And so I automatically tried to get my ball turret man. For some reason or other, he didn't answer on the intercom. Okay. So I'm trying to get him out.
Yeah, you're thinking that it's going to be time to bail out, and your gunner is now, or your ball turret gunner is in the belly of the trap down there.
Yeah, because otherwise the door has to be in the exact position for him to get out, so that he can put his chute on, so he'd be eligible to be able to bail out. Wow. So he has to depend on us somewhat because we're the closest to him. Right. So in the meantime, I'm on oxygen. And an oxygen tank because I'm trying to crank that ball turret. Yeah. And I felt kind of faint all of a sudden because the oxygen, I was running out of oxygen. Yeah. So I says I'd better hook on my own chute. So I finally got one hook on, and the first thing you know, I never realized anything was happening. And I found out, all of a sudden, I found myself floating out in the air. And to no extent, the chute wasn't open or anything. It was all ripped. There was nothing left.
So 1 second you were in the aircraft, and the next second you were just out in the middle of the air. What happened? You think the plane blew up?
I didn't know anything about it till after the Czech Republic told us about the story, what happened, because the wing fell about a mile or so. Half of the wing fell about a mile and a half further, and I never realized it at the time. But as I'm coming down, I figured this is it, So I reached for my crucifix, and that's the only thing I could think of, because I figured, well, this was the last resort.
So you have no parachute. You have some things here. This is a piece of a parachute, right?
Took from what was left of it, ripped, and also just a cord that was also
from your parachute.
From my parachute.
And all this is just dangling above your head and flapping in the breeze.
Yeah, well, it's all like the cords. That's all that was left. It's just cords. There was all snow.
So you hit a snow field, a ski slope.
A ski resort where you'd have all snow, no trees at all.
So this is the only way, and what you just hit the snow, and what happened?
I just rolled down and rolled and slid down for about half a mile, I guess.
Wow. So that's what broke your fall, is this long slide down this heavy snow drift.
Right. And it was, it was heavy, and it was going downhill like. And I had an angle, and being small, that's the good Lord did it.
So if there's a tree in the way and you tumble, you hit that, you would die.
Oh, yeah. That would have been it.
So you needed a mountain that was steep, lots of snow, and no trees, and you hit it.
Yeah.
So you're on the way down, you were falling without a parachute, and you prayed to God at this point because you realized it was your number was up. You were thinking at this point, right?
Yeah, and as we returned, the Czech told us the whole story. When we went to visit them, they told us, and they had all these things for me, not realizing after 60 years that somebody would come. And they had my gloves. Somebody had kept my gloves so the Germans would have them. And they showed me what they had kept.
I guess they knew that you survived, right?
Right. Even like them. Thank goodness that they happened to have a wedding that they outside a little, just outside in one of the houses, and they were all outside, and they saw all the action that was going on between the Messerschmitts and my plane.
And that's how they came and found you so quickly, right? And if they hadn't done that, you would have died of exposure.
Exposure, probably frozen if I'd have stayed there, because from what I gathered, from not realizing it, being injured and a broken neck, I didn't even know I had that. Right. And the whole thing, being...
right. So at what point did your prayers start? When you saw the engine on fire, or when you got blown out of the airplane?
Well, my first thought was when I saw the plane on fire, I says, this is it, we're either going to bail out and everything. But I was very surprised that the pilot never said for us to get ready to bail out.
And the next thing was that you were falling through the air, and you grabbed for your crucifix.
Right. That's about the only thing that I could. It seems like I had left. Right. It seems like I'm being supported in the air somehow.
Well, it seems to have worked, and you ended up surviving an incredible ordeal, and it's a really inspirational thing because you made this prayer, and against all odds, the prayer was answered.
Yes, definitely. Whether it was not only having the faith, but also it might have been my mother's prayers too.
Right. So this is her birthday. She prayed for you. Yeah. And Ray, I'm glad that the Lord's answered your prayers and so many other people's prayers, but I really thank you for giving us this testimony. God bless you, Ray.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and may God be with everything and bless everyone. And
thank you, Ray.
In the United States even, and for our priests to keep the people knowledgeable and to keep the faith and bring them back to the church where that's our own salvation.
Well said, Ray. Thank you very much. God bless you. Ave Maria, this is Friar Roderick here for AirMaria.com. God bless you.